Hey babes, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is on my everyday makeup routine. So first we have to start out with coffee. Coffee is always important. Here I'm just spraying my face with my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. Then I'm going to let that dry. Next I'm going in with my Estee Lauder Matte Perfecting Primer and just putting that all over my face. And then I'm going to rub it in. Make sure it's all nice and smoothed into my skin. The next primer we're going to be using is my Essence I Heart Color Intensifying Eyeshadow Primer. I'm going to place that onto my lids, blend it in to make sure that it cancels out any sort of darkness that I have. Next we're using a matte color similar to my skin tone from the Wet n Wild Au Naturale palette to set that eyeshadow primer. This is going to prevent the little bit of eyeshadow that I am using today from creasing and just make it last all day. The only color that's going to be on my eyes today is the bronzer from the Tarte Tarteist Pro Glow To Go palette. I believe the shade is called Chisel, and on my skin tone it is just a nice neutral brown, and I'm just working that into my crease just to provide a little bit of definition. After putting that Chisel shade onto my crease, I'm going in with my Milani Stay Put Matte 17-Hour Wear Liquid Liner in the shade 01 Black. I never bring my eyeliner all the way into my inner corner because I have super watery eyes, so I just kind of start in the middle of my eye and draw a line outward and then attempt to do a wing. Here I'm just going over to my other eye and trying to make the wings match, which is always the difficult part about doing liner. You can see that I tend to work in small strokes to try to get the lines even. So here I'm comparing my wings and deciding that they're good enough. This is my Pixi Correction Concentrate in Brightening Peach. I'm going to be using it under my eyes to help cancel out my dark circles that I have, and I like to blend that in with my small beauty blender. For me, I really notice a difference in my under eye circles when I don't use this product. The foundation that I'm using today is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation Plus Concealer in the shade 0.5 Breeze, and here you can see the giant wand applicator that it has. This was my very first time using this foundation, so I just started out with placing dots all over my cheeks. Then I took my blending tool of choice, my beauty blender, and used that to just bounce the foundation into my skin. When trying out a new foundation, I like to work in sections of my face, so I next took it onto my chin and then also blended it in with my beauty blender. Here I am dotting the product onto the other side of my face, and then once again I'm going to be taking my beauty blender and blending it in. I like to put the foundation onto my nose after I blend it onto my cheeks because I feel like it helps with making sure the coverage on my nose is as good as I want it to be. I also blended a small amount of the foundation onto my forehead just to make it all match. Even though this is the lightest shade of this foundation, it is still a little dark for me, so I brought it down my neck to try to make it all even. Here's a closer look of what the foundation looks like on my skin. I'm using my favorite Tarte Shape Tape for concealing. I have the shade Fair. I like to dot a small amount under my eyes and then go in with my finger and use that to partially blend it out. I also like to brighten up around my mouth with this concealer. I will then take my beloved beauty blender and use that to blend it into my skin because I believe this gives the most natural looking finish. Here I am going to my other under eye and just doing the exact same process as I did before with the blending it out with my finger first and then taking my beauty blender to completely blend it into my skin. I always go in to double check just to make sure that all of my foundation and concealer is blended well. Now on to my favorite part, highlighting. I'm going to be using the Tarte Tarteist Pro Glow To Go palette to highlight with. I'm using the shade Gleam, and I like to go in and do my highlight before I set my under eyes or my face because I think it makes a more intense glow. I like to take my highlight shade down the center of my nose and then also on my Cupid's bow, and then I'm going to dot a little tiny bit on the tip of my nose. To set my under eyes, I'm going in with my Besame Brightening Vanilla Rose Translucent Powder. I'm using my e.l.f. small tapered brush to set my under eye concealer with that powder. To set the rest of my face, I'm using the new Photofocus Pressed Powder by Wet n Wild in the shade Light Warm. I prefer to use a damp beauty sponge to set my face with powders because I think it really pushes it into my skin and helps lock it in. I blend my face powder through my brows, or else my brow powder tends to go onto my eyebrows patchy. Here I am brushing through my almost non-existent brows before I go in with my Urban Decay Brow Box in the shade Bathwater Blonde. This was a limited edition shade in collaboration with Gwen Stefani, but they just recently made it a permanent color in their Brow Box range. I had placed the darker color through the tail of my brow, and now I'm taking the lighter shade into the front of my brow. My brows are definitely something that I always seem to struggle with. I like to set them with the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel because it really does help them last all day long. Next, I'm going back into my Tarte Tarteist Pro Glow To Go palette and using that chisel shade to chisel out my cheekbones. I'm also going to take that shade up onto my forehead and also down onto my neck to help that foundation better blend into my skin. Here I am using it underneath my lip to give a little extra dimension to my lips. I'm also going to take that shade and attempt to contour my nose a little bit with nothing too dramatic though. I like to place it underneath my nose to make it look like I have a more upturned nose. And then once again, I'm going back into the Tarte Pro Glow To Go palette and just making sure that my highlight is popping. This is the Benefit Cheekathon palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Dallas as my blush today. It is a nice neutral rosy color, and I'm just blending that onto my cheeks using a Wet n Wild brush. Next, I'm going to go back and finish up my eyes by highlighting my brow bone with that matte creamy white shade from the Wet n Wild Au Naturale palette. Then I'm going to take that same shade and highlight the inner corners of my eyes to try to brighten them up and make me look more awake. To curl my eyelashes, I like to use my Tarte eyelash curler. And then I like to go through and make sure that I don't have any eyeliner stuck to my eyelashes by using a clean spoolie. So here I am curling my eyelashes. I don't really have any sort of special technique for this. I just like to make sure I get it as close to the base of my eyelashes as possible, and then pinch the lashes and then curl them back. For mascara today, I'm going to be using the Covergirl Supersizer mascara, and mine is in the old Star Wars packaging, but don't worry, I just opened this like a week ago. It's not super old and gross. For lips today, I decided to keep it super natural by just using my NYC Lavotics Lip and Cheek Stain in the shade Cheeky Berry. Then I went over that with my C.O. Bigelow Rose Salve to moisturize my lips. Alright, so here is my final everyday look. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!